You ruined a date night that was impossible, which we'll get to in a second, but you got to tell me about the tiny house thing.
Everyone was super excited for this tiny house. I stayed in a tiny house outside Austin because my wife and I were driving to South Padre, so we stopped halfway through, went to some wineries, and she found a tiny house on Airbnb for like a really good deal. It was like $80 for the night, and we're like, well, let's do it. Let's stay in a tiny house. And it was super cool.
Okay, let's break down how big this thing is. What is a tiny house? How many square feet was
220 square feet.
Okay, so really small.
It's really small. Like it's small, man. And you feel like a giant inside this thing. I mean, you have like everything you need in a house. And I don't know how people live their whole lives in this thing. To the right, when you walk in the door, you got a living room with this, I guess you'd call it a couch. It's more like a bench, like a worker's bench, and like a mini TV, which kind of looks like a big screen in a tiny house. And then you have like to the left, you have like a full kitchen. You have like a little you have a full size fridge. You have a table. You have like something to cook on, sink, everything. And then to the left of that, and then it's about as far as you're going in this thing. You get a bathroom. You get a toilet and a shower.
Is it like a lofted bed? Is that how?
And a lofted bed is how you get it.
So living room's underneath the bed?
Yeah, living room's underneath the bed.
Got it. And
it's cool. Like you feel like a giant. Everyone kept DMing me, asking me about this. If you've ever stayed in an RV before, you kind of experience what a tiny house is like. But it's just cooler because it's like a mini house. Like you have this little house, and it just feels like you're this cool.
What's the neighborhood like? Giant. Is it surrounded by other tiny little houses?
There's a tiny house right next door, but this is more of like a plot of land where people like were renting out Airbnbs and stuff.
So they built this specifically for like to rent it out as an Airbnb kind of situation?
So the tiny house we stayed in, you can move it. So some
you can move. You can just pick it up.
Yeah, a lot of tiny houses you can move,
really?
And then some of them you can't move. Depends on what you are. But our tiny house, you could actually move it if you wanted to, and that's what makes tiny houses so appealing to people. I think is because you can have everything you want, basically like an RV.
I'd be scared someone would steal my tiny house and come back and like they put my tiny house in the truck.
A little bit more difficult than you'd think, but it was a cool experience. The whole vacation was awesome, actually. Then we went to South Padre, and I know like this awesome time there. But man, we went on this date night. Like we were talking about ruined date night. I screwed up vacation the only way I know how. We went out to this like really nice restaurant that like you got to see like sunset. We're watching sunset, had a couple of cocktails, had this really nice meal. And Scotty, you know, my wife Katie loves fireworks, loves them. And at the end of this, like, it's the end of the summer.
Like sunsets too.
I
think she put like 10, like 10 pictures of the sunset.
She loves sunsets and she loves fireworks. So this is like perfect. Everything's going perfect. I'm like, man, I'm going to get some.
You're a hero.
This is the best date night
I'm going to get some. Not my girl's happy. I'm going to get some. I'm scoring.
This is like the best date night ever. And all of a sudden during the fireworks show, I don't know how I did this. I really don't know how. I somehow bumped my chair into our table. The table falls over into my wife.
Table?
It was like, I mean, it was like a table for two people.
I took it from the tiny house.
But like, so I bump it into her, and the plates from the food fall on top of her. The glass from the drinks fall on top of her. Everything just spills on top of my wife. It shatters everywhere. Like you'd see in the movies, just glass shatters so loud. This is during fireworks, by the way. The whole restaurant looks at me like the waiter who drops the whole thing. The table falls over. She's soaking wet, covered in glass. It was insane. I was like, so date night's over? She was like, yeah, date night's over.
Food was everywhere. She was just covered in everything.
In glass. But the whole restaurant is watching me like I'm some kind of lunatic. I felt like an idiot.
You know what you did? You became the fireworks. You became the new spectacle for people.
Everyone was watching me. I know. I was like, I put on a show, people.
Yeah, while you gave everybody else a story to tell from their date night, you also had a little fail of yourself.
Oh my God, it was terrible. It was just glass everywhere.
Okay. All right. Are there pictures? Did you take a picture? Or
I didn't take a picture in that moment. That's the dumbest thing. That could have been more dumb than me knocking over the stuff. Yeah. Let me take a picture of you.
She would have understood. I need this for later. All right. You can see pictures from Bret's vacation. Do you have the tiny house video, by the way?
Yeah, I posted the picture. I tweeted it. Then there's videos and all that stuff.
Okay. Hot 93.3 hits on Instagram. I'm super intrigued about this tiny house thing, too.